And the scene is set at the Catholic Church of Reno. It is around maybe 10 o'clock-ish right now. Most of the people who are at the night sermon have all but left. There are a few people dawdling behind. One man, the ghoul of Father Alvarez, one Marcus Escalara, remains behind talking with a few people, distracting them from the good father who is currently taking the confession of one of the many sinners of this town. And from within the confession booth, the member of the good father's herd has their hand sticking through the custom-made arm, sticking through the slot that he had installed into the side as he administers what he calls the kine. There, scouring for the day. And as he drinks deep of their vitae, as they enter a form of ecstasy all on their own, maybe believing it's some sort of sign that their sins are being forgiven, that this pain is slowly but surely lessening their own burdens. The sound of the doors to the church flinging open startles the good father and his ghoul, and the herd member who he's currently feeding from almost gets startled. Father, getting his fill there, quickly licks wound and says, "Your penance is done for the evening, my child. Go unto God with grace, and continue to strive towards forgiveness." Upon which you will, from the other side of the screen, say, "Thank you, Father," and hurriedly get out. On the outside of the confessional,
on the outside, they will be still standing at the door, looking actually quite curiously at the church, quite amazed. There will be a quite young-looking girl. She barely looks 18, and she's looking quite amazed at the church. And as she sees Father Alvarez, she actually rushes towards him and goes, "Father Alvarez!" And she runs towards him and takes him in her arms. "It has been so long."
as the father has now been jumped as soon as he left the confessional booth, with the parishioners just sort of looking at him and then just sort of inquisitively raising an eyebrow at this completely dichotomy of the very formal, very priestly, and very conservative Father Alvarez and the sort of storm of young, vivacious, and completely new age Miss Emma. The father just sort of sighs as he realizes that he's not being attacked, but being hugged, which is, well, depending on the situation, possibly worse than being attacked, as he will say, "Oh, it's so good to see you again, my old friend. I trust the plane ride was not too unbearable," as he tries to worm his way out of her very infectious spirit. Hug.
It was uncomfortable, but letting the animals out of their cage and seeing them run around was always fun.
Come this way, as he will gesture to his personal study, which is located in the underchurch. He'll just sort of nod at his ghoul, who will just continue going about talking with everyone else like there's nothing wrong in the world, and his level-headedness seems to sort of spread out to the others, as they just assume that this is maybe some cousin or possibly even some estranged daughter that's come to pay the good father a visit, as he leads her like he led Cameron Forsyth and Teacher Graves earlier, underneath the church into the hallway where he says, I am curious. Out of all the places you'd want to go, why Reno? The last time we
Hmm.
met it was but for a little bit of a time, surely. You did not miss my company that much.
Well, Sister Mary sent me here. I don't really know why, but she looks around, goes, it's Reno. It's supposed to be a fun place.
As he'll smile and say, fun, yes. There's a dry sarcasm on his face. This place is a very dangerous place. Are they calling you Emma now?
Yes, that is my name now.
As he'll smile. Emma, this is a dangerous city you've come to.
Um,
As he will unlock the doors to the church below, you've heard about this place from a few other people, including Sister Mary. She has visited here a couple of times. She knew the good father's predecessors as well as Father Alvarez himself. As he will just sort of gesture you inside into the dark corridor beyond.
oh yes, the night chapel.
Hmm.
Sister Mary told me you were the leader of our little coterie here. Isn't that was wonderful news?
Yes, I was very fortunate to be given the opportunity to continue the traditions of the eparchy of Neon Shadows, and I still serve the Nox Theocracy. And if I've come to understand you being here, do you wish to do the same? Or do you just want safe haven until you can find a coterie for your own?
Well, I have followed this coterie for the amount of time I have been a kindred. I am interested in looking at the other ones, but I am pretty sure I will stick with this coterie for now.
Hmm. As you'll sort of look at Maya again and smile, this time genuine, you'll say, good, good, good. You're learning. I must warn you about several things, though. First, make sure no one in the city learns your true identity or your past. It will be a danger to both of us, and you do not want to endanger your fellow clanmates, do you?
No, and as she actually starts keeping some stairs and actually goes ahead of the father, and she's kind of prancing and skipping some steps. And goes, but as you know, I have always been good at hiding my little truth.
Hmm. As you'll say, good to hear, as he still can't decide whether or not Emma has always been this vivacious or whether or not this is all part of her mask, her disguise to hide her true self, much like his own. So he sort of mulls that over before saying, the second thing, you are a kindred of the Camarilla first and foremost, and therefore you shall stick to the path of humanity, for that is the righteous path, and it is the path that shall reward you with salvation in the end.
It is my own belief. Also, father.
Good. As now they're in the chapel proper, as he moves the false brick out of the way, revealing the dial to the lamps and turning them on so that the chapel becomes illuminated by a dim light again, casting it in its very chthonic majesty. And 3. Do not take anything for face value in this city. There is something much fouler going on here, and I haven't figured out what it is yet, but it is.
And she looks at the Father Alvarez and goes, "Oh, I will have the most fun at helping you find out what this is."
You are a very strange person, Emma. But that might just be what our coterie needs. I might need somebody with that enthusiasm. But
She
enough
just
about that,
smiles.
as he'll just sort of gesture to the room on the far end, down the aisle of pews.
She'll actually go and sit in the pews. And she goes, and she looks around. We are now in the night chapel, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is the ninth.
She looks around, goes, people, when I was a kind, people would have called me weird for liking that background. Especially in the 70s. And she smiles at him. You forgot to tell me something very important, Father. Where do I go to dance in this city? And she actually looks very excited when she says that.
I'd almost forgotten that kind of enthusiasm. But in that regards, you are in the right place. There are many places for you to ply your craft, your trade, your art. This city is practically willing to bend over backwards to give you their blood for someone with your talents. And you can practically go to any of the clubs, casinos, even what few theaters remained, and steal the spotlight. Although I would keep an eye out for the roses of the city. They are a very fickle lot, more so than normal. The people here are not like our good Sister Mary, a person of honest faith and demeanor. These Toreador are roses among bramble, and they will take whatever they can, so long as they think they can get away with it, because they can do nothing but take in the city.
And she smiles at Father Alvar and goes, I shall keep my eye out on those evil little creatures.
Oh, they are evil little creatures, aren't they?
Well, the ones I met, except from Sister Mary Celeste and maybe a few others, all have been very, I think, futile existence. They think, well, and she looks at herself, well, I look good myself, but I don't try to thrive on it so much as they do. They think because they look good, they are superior to others.
The Toreador, besides our good Sister Mary, are jealous, shall we say, that we of Clan La Sombra have the ability to truly seize our desires. The Toreador, all they can really do is just admire from afar, like a love-struck teenager pining for the one who has their affections, but never really having the stones to go up and take it. And that is where you and I and the rest of our clan excel. For there is nothing that we cannot acquire, because we have that will. It is our blessing. Don't you agree?
She
Master.
smiles. Yes, exactly. We master our art whether they get mastered by theirs.
I have heard there is a chance that you might be able to show these Toreador a true master of the arts very soon. But then again, I have nothing but rumors and whisper to go off of. Unfortunately, unlike Vatican City, this eparchy is small in these recent nights. So many of those who had made it strong have gone out, leaving only me and a few scant handful remaining. But I am doing what I can to refill our ranks, and I am very hopeful that you can be of assistance to me in that.
I will help you as I can, my dear Father Alvarez.
Good, good. For the time being, until we can secure your own haven, you are free to stay, as he will walk actually down the middle in between several of the pews, going to another section of the wall where he'll reveal another sort of false panel and open it up, leading to another set of corridors into our dormitory room.
And she looks and goes, "Oh, I have actually found a haven along by. Well, I made myself a ghoul arriving here."
You did you?
Goes, and she looks at him, goes, "Well, the guy did save me when I was getting attacked. I had to thank him some ways."
Reno. Your reward for the kind is admirable, but what you did is very dangerous. For all we know, he could have been a member of another kindred's herd. That would have been a violation of one of the traditions. Make sure you
Oh.
find out that he belongs to no one. And if so, make sure that his previous self is officially declared departed, and then I will help him find a new identity. We cannot have anything, and I mean anything, shed bad light upon our coterie at this time. We are already in a delicate enough situation.
And she smiles at him, goes, Even even ghouls need to be given a alternate identity in this city."
If they were formerly a member of another kindred's herd, they sure as hell do. Either that, or would you prefer to be brought before the
Oh,
prince as a breaker of the traditions? Have you even heard what our prince is capable of from the good sister?
very little. I've heard, and she looks at him and goes, "I've heard he was quite a little bit funky in the head."
He keeps what he calls a garden of ne'er-do-wells. Just an entire room filled with kindred that he has amputated their arms and legs, and keeps them just above the throes of torpor by just feeding them a little blood each day. And those are just the people who piss him off. He does not tolerate people who break the traditions.
And she looks at him a bit horrified, disgusted, and she goes, "Ah, that's
Yes.
how could one of us do that to others?"
Prince From is not one of us. I'm surprised that he is even kindred at this point. He must follow some other creed than humanity, I'm sure of it. No one could have escaped falling to the beasts that long, with the atrocities he's committed, especially with that grin he has on his face. As I've said, this is a very dangerous place, Emma. You must show true caution while within this city. But do not fret too much, as he will come over to you and put a hand on your shoulder. I feel there may be changes in the wind, changes for the better. But it's too early to decide. But again, we of the Magisters need to be strong in these times to fight the darkness that underlines this city. That is our task from God. Now, as he closes the doorway that leads to the dormitory section of the night chapel and locks it again, he will say, "If you need any assistance, do not hesitate to ask. We are more than kindred at this point. We are members of a dying breed in these recent nights. Our traitorous kin will do everything in their power as final to fight them, for they," as he'll look up to the eye of the abyss again, "they are the servants of the abyss now. And their hubris will lead such foul, godless things to overrunning this beautiful world."
Very well. And she looks at him and goes, are there any particular kindred I should look out for? And are there any I can trust?
It pains me to say this more than anything else, but I would not worry about the Malkavian, Miss Alex Blackmoon. She is another one of the prefects, and she's quite happy doing her job, which is defending the city from physical threats, such as incursions, masquerade breaches, idiots fighting in the streets, that sort of thing. Other than that, I would exercise caution around the seneschal, Mr. Falcone. But he, again, I would find it rare for you to run into him. Just show the same respect, maybe a little less when around the prince, but still high respect for him, and you should be fine. As for troublemakers, I'd keep an eye out for any of the Toreador of the city so far. I have had the privilege of meeting one Philip Kent, as that name will ring a bell. You've heard that's Mary Celeste's child.
That's right. And she looks at him and goes, "Isn't that my sister Celeste's child? Why? I thought he would have been one of the ones we can trust."
No, I'm going to be frank with you. He's a total a-hole.
And she looks at him and goes, it seems even Sister Celeste can be a bit silly sometimes. Why would she embrace someone why would she embrace an a-hole?
I do not know. For the life of me, the only thing I can imagine is that this is something that he picked up, unfortunately. For it is the sad truth that no matter how much time we put into our childer, we can never truly predict how they'll end up. Perhaps he was once a more righteous fellow, one more true to the cause, and perhaps his own ambition. Maybe it was just kindred society that did that to him, for it would not have been the first, my dear clanmate.
Does he believe in our Lord?
No, not even for a minute. He likes to stylize himself as a man of science without seeing the greater metaphorical and metaphysical principles therein. It's something I'll never quite understand. In the
And
olden
she's
days, there was no difference between science and religion. And now, people, especially the kind and people like Philip Kent, stylize it as warring forces.
she smiles at the father and goes, "She sounds like a silly little man. She does sound like a silly little man indeed."
Hmm. He is. There's one other. A Mr. Innocenti. I ran into him. He appears to be more of the standard flavor of Toreador, although he has a particularly disdainful collection of art. But I digress. He's someone that you should not associate yourself with, but he's harmless.
Look out for the guy called Innocenti. And
Yes,
she smiles and goes, "And that kind of ironic."
it is. It is. I'm starting to think if that is an alias, he chose it specifically for those reasons. But I digress. Is there anything else that I can help you with this evening, Emma?
She thinks, um, no, I think I will actually rest at my ghoul's haven. He doesn't, as far as I know, he didn't seem to know anything about the kindred condition. So I would doubt he was part of someone else's coterie. I will therefore, well, sleep at his haven if if you think this is all right and safe.
Yes, Father Alvarez will shake his head and go, I believe it is. And it appears our Lord is on your side tonight. It would be most advantageous if he did not end up being a member of another kindred's herd. We are going to need all the help we can get if we are going to uproot the evil that's taken root in this city. Oh, one last thing. I did not want to startle you, but make sure that you keep your ghoul close. There are whispers right now. Whispers that I'm only going to share with you because you have first-hand experience with them, much like all of our clan, all of the Magisters. But there
Oh, you froze. Shh.
in Phoenix, Arizona is starting to move. We believe their eyes are on Las Vegas, but we cannot be sure.
So
You sort of froze for a moment.
yeah, actually, yeah, you froze on my thing. So you started by saying they, and then it cut out, and it got back when you said in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, basically, he's saying that um, there are reports and rumors that the spot from Phoenix, Arizona are starting to mobilize. He thinks that they might be targeting Las Vegas, but they might try to set up a beachhead in Reno. He will stress, though, that if they take Vegas, it will mean the end of our city. Being between two such large domains that are both under the control of the Sabbat would be. We would lose the war of attrition, hands down.
Our fellow kindred in Las Vegas capable of taking care of this business, or are we supposed to go help them in this near future?
Our dear Prince From doesn't believe so, and from what I have heard about their prince, he might unfortunately be correct. It's for that reason that the theocracy and Rena's finest have allied themselves and are trying to get a handle of this situation. I'm going to be meeting with Miss Blackmoon a couple of nights from now. Hopefully we will be able to, how did that saying go, nip this one in the bud? Yes, I believe that's correct.
And she looks at him and goes, is then Elysium taking place soon?
I am not sure, but there are whispers amongst some of the loose-lipped Toreador. But then again, you know how loose-lipped Toreador are. There's also rumors going around amongst some of the Bruja also, but it's far too early to say for sure.
Very well. And she will hug him again, go, thank you, Miss Father Alvarez. And she'll let go and go, well, I believe I'll be making my way to my New Haven now. And she kind of does a little bow, and she goes back up the stairs.
Always a pleasure, Emma. Always a pleasure. As he will just sort of sit down at the pew that was adjacent to where his old friend was sitting, and he will not necessarily pray, but he'll definitely contemplate the future. And as Emma leaves the church back out to the car with her ghoul waiting, I would assume, this is where the scene will end.